Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. Now, last year, I made a video about how to buy a car with bad credit and no money down in 2025. Today will be the update on that. I do have some new data points, especially when it comes to getting lower APR for your car loan. According to current predictions, getting a car in 2026 is expected to be significantly easier, even more so than in recent years, due to a softening car market with more available inventory and less need for you to pay over MSRP, especially for less popular brands. Now, today we're going to be updating this method on how you can buy a car with bad credit and no money down in 2026. And of course, as usual, we'll be going through this step by step. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, I've been talking about this same method for the last 2 years. So I always want to tell you with full transparency, when I say that you're going to be buying a car with bad credit, I'm actually saying that we're going to use information strategically to give you the best opportunity to be approved. So it's not really a hack as much as it's just something that we're using that's general information that, anyone should know about credit, but we're going to organize it in such a way that it gives you the most favorable terms when it comes to interest rates. And last year we had a few interest rate cuts, which makes it even better in 2026 for you to get a car without having to spend so much money on interest. Like I said before, hack is just a buzzword. With this strategy, we will increase your credit score in a very short period of time. So it's going to seem like your credit score increased overnight, when really we just use very good general credit building strategies, but when you use them in combination, we can get some great results. So again, nothing I'm going to give you is out of the ordinary. Anyone can do this with ease, and I've compiled all of this information into one comprehensive guide that you can follow step by step. Now, as stated before, step number 1 is seemingly raising your credit score overnight. Now, there are various ways that you can do this. First, you need to access a copy of your credit report that shows all 3 bureau scores. Now, I highly recommend that you go to rising.com to access your credit report. You can start a free trial for $1, and that's for 7 days. Once we know where you stand, you can move into the most effective way to raise your credit score in a short period of time so you can get this car with no money down. Now, one of the most effective ways for you to seemingly raise your credit score overnight is to be added on someone's credit card account as an authorized user. And once again, I'm going to explain this as if I'm speaking to someone who knows nothing about credit. So again, if this seems obvious to you, then I apologize, but please bear with me. An authorized user is someone who is added to a primary cardholder's credit account. So even though the credit card company will issue a card with the authorized user's name on it, the primary user is legally responsible for paying charges on that account. So when you're added onto someone else's credit card account as an authorized user with various credit cards, you adopt that person's payment history. Now, some of you may be asking, how will this help me get a car? Well, being added as an authorized user on another person's credit card gives you credit history, and it will instantly increase your credit score very, very quickly. Now, I did this when I got my first car. I had very bad credit, and my mom added me as an authorized user to one of her credit cards. When she added me, she received a credit card. I didn't ask for it. She kept that, but I was able to get all of her positive payment history. My score went from being like around the mid 500s to up to like 630. So overnight, I went from bad to at least fair credit. So that's what we need to do for you. We want to get your credit score to at least the 600 range. And the reason why this is going to work is because 35% of your credit score is on-time payment. So if you get 3 or 4 years of on-time payments, and that's 35% of your credit score, it's going to dramatically increase your credit score. And another 30% of your credit score is utilization. How much credit is being used on that credit card? So if that person is only using like, let's say 10% or less on that card, that's going to also give you more positive history. So you're already hitting 65% of what makes up your credit score. This can potentially give you a 50, 80, possibly even a 100 point boost. And again, it's going to happen very quickly. So if you're going to use this method, I recommend doing so right before the cycle date will close on that credit card. That way you'll see the account report in a very short amount of time, maybe a few days to even a week. Now, if you have someone in mind, because I always recommend asking a family member, a friend, someone that you know very well, someone that you know is very responsible with their credit. So again, if you have someone in mind, but they seem hesitant, let them know they could add you on for 30 days. This will be a temporary boost to your score in order for you to qualify for a car loan. You're not going to get a card. All you want to do is get a better rate for this vehicle. Now, some of you may also be thinking, well, what if I don't know anyone that can add me on as an authorized user, or I can't find anyone that's willing to add you on? Well, there are some alternative methods that you can actually use. So if you do not have anyone that can add you on as an authorized user to their credit card accounts, you can get what's called a vendor trade line. And I have two options here that I recommend. The first one is coasttradelines.com. The other one is Tradeline Supply Co. Now for Tradeline Supply, I have an entire video on this. I'm going to link that right here if you want to watch that, if you just want to get an overview or more information about this particular company. Now, this will give you an instant credit boost. You don't have to talk to anyone. You can just pay to be added onto a vendor trade line to increase your score. Now, let's go over to the website and we'll discuss how these trade lines actually work. So currently we are on coasttradelines.com. I will put a link in the description for you if you want to click on that. And it lets you know here, authorized user trade lines for sale, the fastest and most reliable offer to boost your credit score. And then you can purchase trade lines and boost your credit score in as little as 1 week. So let's actually see the trade lines and take a look at which offers are currently available. Now, it's very easy for you to understand. It shows you right here that there are 500 plus new trade lines available each month. All trade lines stay posted for at least 60 days, and you can also join their brokers club if you wanted to do that. But you'll pick your own trade line by scrolling down here and you'll take a look at what's available. So for example, there is a Florida trade line on a Barclays card with a 6.8K line of credit, and it's 3 years old. There's one spot available, and that is $230. Now, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, about the actual amount of the limit. What really matters is the history. That's really what you should be focused on. So $230 for 3 years is not bad. That's 36 months of on-time payments, roughly. Let's keep scrolling down to see if there's anything left. Now, as you can see right now, it's only 2 more available spots left. There is a Citi card that's $240. It's a $2,000 trade line with 6 years of history. There's also another one with Elon, $2,000 with 4 years of history, $220. Now, if we keep scrolling down, there are aged trade lines. These are going to have 7+ years. This is perfect for history, for on-time payments. And then there's one for 7.4K, 10 years, $460. And let's see what else is available. There's one with 9.5 years. Let's see if I can find the longest amount of time here. But it looks like around 10 years is the longest. There's one for 13 years. And here's one for 24 years. That is a very, very long trade line here. But, you know, you guys want to make this make sense. If you are, let's say, 18 years old, mind your age. You can't be 18 years old with a 24-year trade line. It wouldn't actually make logical sense. So definitely just pay attention to the year. For me, when my mom added me on, she lived in Louisiana. I live in Nevada. So I don't really think that the actual state does matter. I don't think it has to match. But if you wanted it to, you could also search here and you can find your state. Now, aged February trade lines, they're going to show you exactly what date that the statement cycle date will close. The date that it closes will more than likely be maybe 7 days later, the date that it'll report to your credit. So you really want to pay attention to these dates, because right now it is early February. So if you were to actually let's say do it on the 20th, you may not see this until a couple weeks later. Okay. You may not see it until the end of March. So it would probably be best for you to maybe wait like a week prior to that date, then pay for it. And then it may take roughly around like 2 weeks or so for you to see that reported to your credit. Now, make sure that you actually read the bottom here. Lines with an asterisk have excellent posting history, so you want to grab those to minimize the risk of non-posting. Now, if you need this to post to all 3 bureaus, it's going to tell you exactly which banks they recommend that you use. Another important note is that they have a 3 trade line max per order. If you have an order with more than 3 trade lines, it will be canceled immediately. It also tells you, don't forget, you have to remove any fraud alerts from your file before adding authorized user trade lines. Otherwise, it will not post and your order will not qualify for a refund. Again, very, very important. And if you're having any second thoughts, you can cancel or adjust your order within 48 hours of your submission. After the 48-hour grace period, they may not be able to accommodate any changes to your order. Additionally, your order will not qualify for a refund unless they're able to verify the selected trade line did not post. All right, we are currently on the TradelineSupply.com website. So if we scroll down here, we can take a look about providing equal opportunity and some more information here. Now, if we go to see all trade lines, then we can see all of the package deals that they have going on. And then at the very top right here, you can see the bank name, the card ID, which is usually like the last few numbers on the card, the credit limit, the date opened, the purchase deadline, the reporting period, the availability, as well as the price. Now on this one, they don't give you the same information like you saw on Coastal, where they gave you like the state origin and things like that, but it's the same information that you really need to be aware of in order for you to pick the right one. Now, as you can see, they have Barclays, Bank of America, a CP1, Chase, Discover. You know, there's a lot of different options here. But once again, I think the most important thing that you need to look at is the age of the account. That to me is more important than anything else. Now you can see the age by the date that it was opened. So if you scroll down, you can find some accounts that, like for example, this one is 2015. $4,500 for the limit, and then it's around $510. There are 2 spots left. And then it also lets you know right here when you can expect this to actually report. So again, we're in early February. So if you want this to report like immediately or very soon, then you need to look at a date that's closer to whenever the current date is that you're watching this video. So just always be aware of that. Now, I will say with Tradeline Supply Company, there are more options, but you'll also see that the prices are a little bit higher. Now, I feel like in the grand scheme of things, if you're going to maybe lower your interest by 3-4%. Grand scheme over the life of that loan, you're going to save more money in spending $540 or even like $220 with the previous vendor. I think that's well worth it for the amount of money that you will save in the future. And again, I recommend that you ask family. I recommend that you ask friends, things like that. You could even tell your friend, hey, I'll give you $50. Can you add me on for 30 days or 60 days? If a friend asks me that, I would be more than happy to do that because there's no downside for me. It wouldn't hurt me in any capacity. I have access to the card. My credit history is good. I'd be more than happy to help. But if you don't have a family member or anyone that can assist you, then absolutely this is an alternative. And the reason why I always bring that up is because I remember the first time I made this video, I received a comment from someone who was actually angry because they thought it was like, well, one, they're like, I don't have $400, $500. Like I said before, I'm talking to a broad audience of many people. Unfortunately, I don't know your specific financial situation. I don't know what you're going through, and I really can't speak to that. All I can say is that here's a video of someone showing you an alternative to trying to actually get a car at a cheaper rate with bad credit. Like, that's all I can actually say. It's a strategy. It does work. You've seen plenty of comments of people who have used this strategy. They've implemented this, and it has worked. So again, I don't know your current situation. I don't know what you're going through, but what I can say is if you don't have $800, $500, then you probably don't need to have a car loan. You should probably look at some of my other videos about ways to make money, or even look at getting maybe a higher paying job, side hustle, whatever it takes to actually get the funds. I think that would be more important than worrying about having a vehicle. Or the other thing that I got was he thinks that we have someone who would add us on as an authorized user. Once again, again, I would hope that you had a family member. I would hope that you had a friend. I would hope that there was someone in your life who would be willing to do this for you. But if not, this is the alternative. And if you don't, then you have to get some money and you have to do that, or clean up your credit the old fashioned way. I have plenty of videos that show you how to repair your credit step by step, and it's all free. So, I can't help anyone who's just in a negative state of mind just to be in a negative state of mind. I can't help that. What I can do is provide you with resources and information. And again, it's completely for free. Now, you need to make sure you have the authorized user's driver's license, social security card, the billing party's driver's license. I'm sorry, this goes away kind of fast. And the payment method is electronic check, no credit card. And they do not sell trade lines in Georgia. You also want to be aware of that. If you have questions, then you can call, or you can also email Tradeline Supply Co. And then when you actually go to the cart, just pay attention to this part right here. Once again, please ensure any fraud alerts or credit freezes are removed from your credit bureaus before placing an order for a trade line. Trade lines will not post and refunds will not be issued if there is a fraud alert or a credit freeze. Once again, you can go to rising.com. There's an option for you to unfreeze all 3 of your credit reports. So once again, there are so many trade lines here. Try to find the one that is the most cost effective and that makes the most sense for you. And please do what's in your best personal interest. Now, for step number 2, we are going to find a credit union to get your auto loan with. And once again, I apologize if this seems very redundant. I know I've covered a lot of videos on credit unions, but I want to make sure that I'm providing as much information as possible to anyone who's currently watching this video. Now, a credit union is a nonprofit financial institution that's owned by its members. All right. They offer financial products very similar to a bank, except credit union members can access the kind of products and services offered at a very substantially lower rate. Members elect a board of directors to manage the credit union to ensure that their best interests are represented. Credit unions aim to serve members by offering competitive products with better rates and fees than you will see with a for-profit bank. And credit unions care more about the relationship between them and their members more than they care about your credit score. Now, I don't want to just say credit does not matter or your credit profile structure does not matter. These are all very important things. However, while your credit score does play that factor, it is also very important to build a relationship. Now, you will need to meet eligibility requirements in order to qualify and open an account, which we will go over, and ultimately, take out this loan. But again, credit unions, they do offer lower interest rates than banks, and they're more lenient with their approvals. So let's say even after your credit boost, like if you have an authorized user account, you've gone up from, let's say, a 580 to a 630. Even if you still have charge-offs or derogatory marks or late payments or anything like that, or your credit profile is thin, you will still be in a better position to get approved for an auto loan, especially with no money down, if you go through a credit union. In step number 3, we will now cover exactly how you can actually get this with no money down. Now, I put together the top 4 credit union auto lenders to date right now. Currently, it is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. And you can check the description for the date that I release this. I make videos well in advance. So depending on the time that you're watching this, these rates can change, guys. These rates will not be the same. If you're watching this, like, let's say several months from now, you may see that rates have gotten even lower, which would be amazing. Now, at the time of recording, once again, these are the lowest rates. If you found a lower rate at a different credit union, then by all means, please drop that in the comments below. Let other people know exactly where you got your auto loan from if there are better rates. But I did this to save you time so you would not have to do the research. But if you want to look for it yourself, by all means, please share that information, drop it in the comments below, and also be aware that depending on when you're watching this, there may be lower rates because the video will be old. But I'm going to tell you why I chose these lenders, because this is going to be perfect for someone who does have bad credit. Most of these lenders allow you to pre-qualify. And what I mean by that is that you're able to actually see if you're approved before you even take a hard inquiry, which will mean that you only take this hard inquiry if you're actually approved for this vehicle. Like, I had a friend who went to a dealership to get a car, and I kid you not, they actually ran his credit 60 times. He actually had 60 hard inquiries on his credit report. This will eliminate that shotgun process that happens when you go to a dealership. These credit unions also cover 100% of the cost. You do not have to put money down with these credit unions. They will cut you a check usually in 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes they offer the funding the exact same day. And this will just save you so much time, because the unfortunate truth is when you go into a dealership, a lot of times they'll approve you. Like, I tell people this all the time. The reason why it's very easy to get a car, like anyone can technically get a car with bad credit, because it's not a unsecured line of credit like a personal loan or credit cards. It has collateral to it. It is a collateral backed loan, which means if you don't pay, they can come repossess your car, and there's actually something they can take back to actually cover the cost of the loan, or they can also finance the car out again after they repossess it from you. So that's the reason why it's easier to get approved for auto loans. But what will happen is a dealership will ask you for the craziest down payment. And normally with those down payments, they don't actually go towards paying down the car or the principal. They actually just pocket the down payment, and then they take the car and just split the cost over however many months. That's the reason why you shouldn't focus on what the monthly payment is. You always need to focus on what the out the door cost is. How much does the vehicle cost in totality? The total. Don't worry about the monthly cost. Worry about what the total of that vehicle is, because that's going to tell you how much you're actually paying. Again, most dealerships will tell you put down $5,000. They'll take that $5,000. They'll raise the car by $5,000. They'll pocket that. And now you still have a high monthly payment, and you just wasted money. So I'm trying to save you from that whole experience. Again, anyone will give you an auto loan. They'll just ask for a ungodly down payment, and they'll give you the most predatory interest rates imaginable. So again, these will all cover 100% of the cost of the car. You'll walk in with confidence knowing that you can get it without having to haggle. And of course, lowest interest, as well as the lowest minimum credit score requirements. So on this list, the lowest minimum credit score required is 600. All right, so let's keep that in mind. There's no down payment. 600 credit score minimum is the lowest requirement. And for 75% of these lenders, no hard pull unless you are actually approved. All right, so with that said, let's get right into these credit unions. Now, just like last year, the first credit union on our list will be NASA Federal Credit Union. Anyone can join NASA Federal Credit Union. And I also want to point out that the longer you extend the long term, the higher the APR will be. And that's just based off of risk. The shorter the amount of time that you have a loan, the lower the APR. The longer, then that's the more risk. It will cost you more. That's just normal underwriting. That's normal lending. They also offer refinance options, and your credit score can be as low as 600. And to get this auto loan, you can get pre-qualified without doing a hard inquiry. And that means you can make sure that you're able to get this loan without impacting your credit score. Currently, we are on nasafcu.com. Just like before, I'm going to put a link in the description so you can click on that and you can see the current rates. And again, depending on when you're watching this video, this might change. So let's go to auto loans, and it lets you know here that you can enjoy rates as low as 4.84% APR, flexible terms, and negotiating power. So we already know that we can get rates as low as 4.84% APR. That is pretty good, and it's no impact to your credit score. If we keep scrolling down here, then we'll see the actual terms. So up to 36 months, that will get you the lowest APR, 4.84%. 37 to 63 months would be 5.44%. 64 to 75 months would be 6.29%. And of course, the longest one would be 76 to 84 months, 7.14%. Now, these are rates effective as of February 1st. 2026. And this is for purchase and refinance rates. Now, if we scroll down, it tells you the loan application process. Very easy. You check your rates and you complete your online application, and you can do that in just 2 minutes. You can get pre-approved, receive a decision quickly, and shop with confidence. You submit documents like provide your proof of income, residency, and vehicle details. Then the loan is reviewed by a specialist who will verify your information and finalize your loan terms. And then for funding, you receive your funds to complete your vehicle purchase or vehicle refinance. And then you can also check auto loan offers, term rates with their calculator, and get an idea of what you might be paying. Now, the one thing that I do want to make note of, if you're going to be joining this credit union and your credit score is low, I would highly recommend, if you have time, join the credit union, open a checking, open a savings, set up direct deposit, and let some money go into that account. Build an internal relationship if you can help it. If you do that, it's more likely you'll be approved with more favorable rate. But once again, that's only if you have the time. Next on our list is Consumers Credit Union. Anyone can join this credit union as well, and there is no minimum credit score requirement for Consumer Credit Union. That's one of the best things about this one, and it takes about 48 hours for them to make a lending decision. So let's go over to the website and see exactly what rates they're offering at the time of recording this video. So currently we are on myconsumers.org. If we scroll down, we'll see rates as low as 3.99% APR, and that's with CCU's car buying service. So again, you will need to use that service in order to get the lowest rates, and it lets you know that you can get pre-qualified in minutes. It will not impact your credit score. There are easy monthly payments, competitive interest rates, and there's also a nice little tool right here that can show you the loan amount, the interest with the terms, and how much you'd actually be paying. You also don't have to do a down payment. I just want to make note of that. So let's scroll down here, and it lets you know 0 to 60 months with the auto buying service, 3.99%. Now, even if you don't use that service, it can be as low as 4.49%. Now, if it's a car that's 2024 or newer, that will also be the best rates. 2020 to 23, it gets a little bit higher. And then 2019 or older, the rates get significantly higher. I wouldn't recommend that. Now, from 61 to 72 months with the auto buying service, 4.84%. So if you can, I recommend just staying with the 60 months. I mean, that gives you the lowest rate, and 60 months is a very, very long time. You also can go 73 to 84, but it will increase to 5.94%. So you can kind of play with this and see exactly how you want to use it. But in the best case scenario, it'll be best to get a vehicle for 60 months that is 2024 or newer. I think that is your best option, and it will just depend on the type of vehicle that you're looking at and the cost. Now, these rates are effective as of January 2nd, 2026. And once again, that is subject to change. Who knows, it might get even lower. And these rates also include an additional 0.50% APR discount for buying through that car service. I just have to keep mentioning that, because if you don't, then that will change those rates. And you just want to make note here, they do not allow lease buyouts or private party purchases. So that's not something that you're able to do with this credit union. Next on our list will be Navy Federal Credit Union. Now, not everyone can join this credit union. If you do want to learn how to join, I have so many videos on Navy Federal. I can link one right here. I have one exactly about how to build your internal score. That would probably be the best one to watch, but there are various ways that you can join. Now, when you apply for this one, the other downside is that there is no pre-qualification, but once you're approved, they will send you a check for the entire amount of the vehicle. This does not require a down payment, and once you have that check, you can purchase the vehicle from the dealership. Navy Federal will pull TransUnion for the credit score. There isn't technically a minimum credit score that's required. However, Navy Federal is all about relationship building, and they have their own internal score. Once again, watch that video. I'll link it. but let's go to the website and see exactly what the current rates are. Currently, we're on NavyFederal.org, and they have auto loan rates as low as 3.89% for a new car. Applying is easy, and you can get a decision in seconds. Plus, they offer discounts for active duty and retired military. So they have new and used car loans. You can also refinance your car. And let's take a look at what the rates are right now. So for new auto loans, APRs can be as low as 3.89% for 12 to 36 months. As usual, the lower the months, the lower the rate, and it can also go up to 7.39% for 85 to 96 months. Now for used vehicles for 12 to 36 months, it'll start at 4.79%. It can go up to 72 months for 5.39%, but as you can see, for 84 to 96 months, there actually is no interest that's listed right here, which means it may get fairly high. They won't even show you what it is, but these are fairly good rates. They are actually lower than the previous two credit unions, and these are rates as of February 3rd, 2026. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind, loan terms greater than 72 months are only available for vehicles with fewer than 7,500 miles. The minimum loan amount is $30,000 for terms 85 to 96 months. So you do want to keep that in mind. There's also some other notes about the definition of a new vehicle and then used vehicles. So definitely make note of that. And then you can use the calculator here at the bottom to kind of play with this and see like what your rate might be and the amount of vehicle that you're purchasing. But like with all other credit unions, if you don't have a relationship and your credit score is not at least fair, you might want to consider opening that checking and savings account. You might want to consider doing a direct deposit, and you might want to wait just a little bit of time before you actually apply for this auto loan. The last option on our list will be PenFed Credit Union. Now, PenFed is great because anyone can join. And if your credit score is lower than 580, I would recommend establishing a relationship with them first. And again, when I say that, open a checking, open a savings account, set up direct deposit, and pre-qualifying does not affect your credit score. PenFed will do same day funding. You just have to ask for it. And again, while there is no like bottom threshold for your credit score, I would shoot for at least having a 630. If you're any lower, once again, establish that relationship first. And fun fact here, PenFed is still the largest auto lender in the US, so this might be a good place for you to start. Currently, we are on PenFed.org, and you can unlock your dream car with rates as low as 3.39% APR. Now, this is the lowest that we've seen on this list, and you can pre-qualify with no impact to your credit score. Now, the other thing I really love about this credit union, you can actually get loan amounts up to $150,000, and you can get up to 125% financing. So if you had a vehicle that you were like, let's say maybe you were trading something in and there was some negative equity, that can actually take care of that negative equity, because again, you get up to 125%. And then very easy, you apply online, you get approved, and then number 3, they finalize the loan. And then there's a calculator if you want to actually maybe get an idea about how much you might actually have to pay for this car loan. Now, for their new car buying service, for 36 months, it can be 3.39% for new auto buying. And for this one, it kind of works like in a similar way. There is a car service that they require you to actually use, and that's going to actually get you that discounted rate. So discounted auto loan rates when using PenFed's car buying service for your vehicle and financing, that's also going to get you that 3.39%. But if you don't do that, it's still 4.19%, which is still relatively good. For used cars, it's 4.34%. or 4.79%. This is all for 36 months. And as we can see here, it can go as high as 6.24%, which honestly is not bad, especially for 84 months. But again, the lower the months, the lower you pay in interest. So I would recommend like 60. I think 60 is like a great place to be. If you can get 60 with anything like even 4.79% or anything around like 5%, that's excellent. If your credit score is only fair, like 630, 640, that's going to put you in a great position. In worst case scenario, you can always refinance later with some of the other options on our list. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please let me know in the comments below if using this strategy, if using any of these credit unions actually help you get approved for a vehicle. I like to read those comments. I like to make sure that the information being provided is still effective, it's still useful to you, and that you're able to get into a vehicle that you can be happy about with a price and a rate that you can actually be proud of. I don't want you to be exploited just because of something as simple as credit. So again, please drop that in the comments below and just let me know what your experience was. Also, if you have any additional credit unions that you want to add, please put that in the comments below. And if you have any additional questions, put that in the comments as well. I'd be more than happy to help you with any questions that you have. And know that you're not limited to any of the credit unions that I actually spoke about here. There are local credit unions that work very well. So it's okay for you to step outside of what's in this video. Just know that there are so many options that are available to you. So once again, thank you so much for watching this video, and you guys have a wonderful day.